Every time I get a letter from Vero, I have like a meltdown because I'm like, what does it say? I have to do something new. And I try.
Just a second. Okay.
Passa algo en español, ¿cómo se dice?
¿Perdón?
Pasa algo. Ah, no, no.
Okay.
It's like that one.
Yeah, he explained it, I guess, very well.
It's actually a story, but it's one of the things that I really was driving to the country is exactly the whole welfare equality. Starting for I didn't want to take just like a Gale or something. I just took like in general, and how the person. It's a contradiction because they think that this country people are very selfish and they're very individualistic, but on the other way, that's amazing, an amazing form to protect you as a person, to stand out being different. And I really love that people can be different here, and they're not diminished by that. But still, all of those small individuals, they have a strong sense of community, and well, this, you can see it. That's why they shout most of the time that they're trying to protect, but the welfare for everyone. It comes again to this independence, like everyone's independent to be who they are. But also they have this, they're coming back to their common welfare, they have things like Talcott, for example, which is, I remember when I was invited the first time to a Talcott of a friend, which it could not be like very social, it could be just like, I have my summer cottage, just want to paint it up. And invite all my friends and you put like a bunch of beers, of course, and pizza, and then suddenly you have 40 people painting your summer cottage, so you paint the whole thing in 4 hours. And then you have a party, and it's a really way to keep your friends close. This pretty much is in the other regions than the capital. But, and then come back to this simplicity, which could be related to, for example, the design and the nature. They're very smooth, very simple, because they're like, less is more. And it's also reflected on the culture of how people live their lives, and small houses, few clothes. Coming back from Mexico, from the United States, you can see that over there it's the other way. It's less, more is more, bigger, more. You collect all kind of things, and here people are more detached from material stuff, and they give more value to for example, nature. They prefer to be in a silent place rather than in the noisy place. And yes, to reflect, for example, in the education. And last I got this, because I love food. But also, I also think a bit, I have heard a lot of critics about like a film doesn't have like a more traditions. Mm-hmm. And they criticize the history because it's a relatively young country. Mm-hmm. But I've been around for 12 years, and I found a whole variety of traditions and very deep ways and unique ways of enjoying life. And of course, Christmas to me is one very unique. A lot of people tell me that Christmas is quite dull or quite dark. Not only the sense of the environment, but with the house. But I think I never thought that I would enjoy Christmas. Coming back from Mexico, well, Christmas on like parties and everyone shouting, and I still love it when I go there. But when I'm here and I spend Christmas with a Finnish family that I always go to, it's beautiful. The whole quietness and peaceful, and I never thought that I would miss it actually.
Okay, well, he's kind of my ideal user. He's very proficient. He's been working in Finnish for a while, but he still lacks in, for example, writing. He says he can write a whole paper, but it still is like a 5-year-old putting together sentences. He doesn't have that grammatical understanding of genres, of a bit more complex writing. So in this way, a tool could maybe help him in that way, and myself obviously. Mm. So I know now that we're actually coming to the end of the time. So if you don't want to do this, I'm totally okay with it. Mm-hmm. Maybe if you want to give me some comments and feedback, I think that I'm much more interested in that.
Yeah. what comes to mind, I read your paper, so I had one question. Because you say here that it's the lack of professional language, or language used in professional contexts that is the problem. Do you have research data to support that? Because what I've read of research is that it is more maybe more the coffee table conversation culture that is lacking for the foreigners in the in Finland in the working environment. That and then like in experiences with learners, very advanced learners, they and most of them that I have spoken to tend to say that it's a rather compact amount of vocabulary that you need for your field, then you can acquire that rather fast. But how to use then the everyday chat thing and in a meeting maybe to say it in the right tone and these kinds of things are way more difficult to master than the professional vocabulary especially.
Okay.
So this was a surprise for me here. So
I don't have scientific data or papers on that. This is from the student interviews of the previous paper.
Yeah.
These are their concerns as much as mine.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not talking about. I know that there's a book for example, terveydenhoitaja.
Yeah.
And it's very concise. It's very well made. But there's only for that one. I haven't found one for designers or one for lawyers or one for architects.
Yeah.
So it would be insane to make one book for everybody.
Yeah.
And since the fields are changing and evolving so fast, you can never keep up.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things in healthcare services that don't change. Maybe protocols and okay.
And it's such a huge field also for.
As you said, if the problem is really mostly the writing in the professional context, then it's not only a question about vocabulary, because that you can find, but about how to use them, what kind of structures to use. If you think about lawyers, for example, it's really a different language, even if you have all the words you need. Yeah. So it's maybe.
Yes, and there aren't any courses. No. I have been teaching these kinds of courses only at the Helsinki University, where for the students of Finnish as their major, foreigners who have Finnish as their major, suomen kieli ja kulttuuri oppiaine, that major. There are courses for that, for writing. So you write texts about different topics, and then you get corrected, and you learn the vocabulary, and you write them again, and so on. This is how you learn writing, right? Yeah. Or reading also. But we don't have these kind of courses, do we? On that level, it's completely lacking.
We don't have courses on that level.
Yeah,
simply.
Yeah. And yes, and also these courses that are offered for immigrants, the kotouttamiskoulutus courses. They are limited to the lower level. I have once in year 2003 I taught one higher level course where we could do this kind of stuff, but there's no money for that. So, but that is a problem because this is where these highly qualified professionals they are lacking this.
Yeah, it's a bit of support. And if the platform was to pay for itself, say that, do you know Duolingo? It's this language based on double captcha.
Okay, no.
Okay, every time that you log in somewhere and you have to insert a code that is algorithmic generated like by the computer, so to prove that you're human.
Okay, you mean that,
yeah, double captcha also has this word. So you type the word, you type the code, and that word goes into translating something from Wikipedia or something else, and it somehow pays for the program use, so it's free for everybody. If the platform would be free, then it's not about, it probably would be, for example, if the teacher could cater 2 or 3 groups at a time to the most proficient ones, and then the proficient ones show and teach the less proficient ones. So it's also a lot of, well, not carrying all the weight of having 20 students online that are very demanding because they are You have to read all their texts, but also their peers can read the text.
Mm. But it is work intensive for the teacher
Very much.
to prepare the stuff, find it, like if it's a video or a text or whatever, then to make like 3 different versions of a text, like the selkokieli one and then the more advanced one and so on, and then maybe pick out the most important vocabulary and so on. This all takes time, of course, and then you have like the students' text that you some of them you would correct, right, and so on. So that's one thing to think, how much work does the teacher, how much teacher work does this include, or what is the, and student work also. This is very intensive for the student. There would have to be very motivated learners who want to put
All
time
these
into this.
are learners with really high agency,
Yeah.
like really high agency. There's another participant here that is actually Romanian,
Yeah.
Olga, and she has just started her entrepreneur business, teaching Finnish for foreigners. And of course, she's not as proficient, but she knows that she has a level that can help jumpstart others.
Yeah.
So that's also, well, taking a bit of a load on like the amount of beginners that you have, it's overwhelming. I've been in those groups.
Yeah.
You have 40 or even
Mm.
bigger groups. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible to cater everybody.
Yeah.
But the idea here would be that the students do much of the looking for the material or that, so the teacher wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the teacher would be there only for really the things that they can't do for each other.
Mhm.
So,
Pretty much, okay, let's say that on the fly, when they are writing, okay, you have maybe one session, and they are writing a discussion, maybe, because they have to practice spelling and vocabulary.
Mhm.
And the teacher's there just supervising. And she clicks in when she notices a typo, she marks it, and if the tool is created as smart as we want, then it will be color coded. Like for
Well, that's
Mm.
reminds me
Kung
of
fu
Kung Fu
writing,
writing. They
Okay.
are, do you know?
no.
Okay, now write down Kung
Yes.
Fu writing, because that's something that are most of the English teachers, I think all the English teachers are using, some of the Spanish teachers already, and it's
Here in
exactly
Aalto.
what
Like
you are
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, that's
Okay.
right. It is
Okay.
Kung Fu writing.
Okay.
So
It's a product that has been developed by people at the Aalto Language Center
Okay.
for
It
correcting
exists.
texts.
In the color coded.
Yes,
Yes.
and you save like the corrections once, and then it just click, 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 like object problem, and then you have
you
your
can
explanation
give
that you have mentioned.
explanations and extra material to.
there,
brilliant.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
There is the hyperlink.
Yeah.
If you, okay, you see the underlined word and then you don't know what is wrong with it, you open the hyperlink. The hyperlink tells you, okay, there's a problem with the object. It's a negative sentence, you have to use partitive case, for
Oh.
example. So it already exists.
Let me talk to them. Because yeah, if we could like
Yeah,
put it
you
to work
could link it
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it's
Ah, that's
copyright.
But
or
it does
whatever.
not exist. It's not language specific, and so we as Finnish teachers haven't used it.
I have
Much.
tried some of the earlier versions.
Yeah, but it requires from the teacher who starts to use that a system that you first, like the first texts are
You
very
create your
work intensive. You have to
buttons.
create your buttons that you then later can use and just click, click, click. But the first time you
Yeah.
don't have anything to click, you have to write every single
Okay.
thing there.
Mhm.
But then,
Once you have done it, you can.
If you want to, we can give you the name of the person who's
Yeah,
responsible.
because maybe if we propose some interface design so it's not so labor intensive at the beginning, then maybe you'd be interested. Yes, please.
Yes, you want to write down.
here,
Thank you.
Johanna is more. Okay.
That saves a lot of time.
It does.
Yes. Especially in the right, yeah.
But how about then, how to define sort of the objectives? Is that something that the learners would do themselves? They would say, I want to learn this, or would it be something that the teacher would participate in?
I think now that you bring it up that way, because it relates a lot with assessment and how much
Yeah.
are the objectives met. In this case, say I'm the user, because I'm actually profiling on myself. These are my basic needs,
Yeah.
and I know that many other people do. So my goal is to write at some point a research paper in Finnish with design, about design. So if that is my objective, then it has to pair with the type of assessment that the teacher who knows about the language dictates. So at some point, yeah, I would have to kind of cross-check and that's something else that I have to
Because
think about.
sometimes, today I asked a group of, not this advanced, but quite advanced students, what would they like to learn for the rest of the course, and it's really difficult for them to say. They just feel they want to learn things and want to get better, but what? And if they can't tell me, it's even harder for me
Of
to know
course.
what are their needs.
Exactly.
They come from different fields, they are in different life situations, and
Mhm.
so who can do that?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly
Because
the same
yeah.
experience today.
Yeah.
I have 55 students in my class,
Wow.
and they had homework to send me an email telling me what they would like to study because we have the last lesson. One responded. One responded out of 55. And then, okay, I was there in the class and I said, okay, I got one response. So why didn't you send me anything? And then, well, we don't know what we... They didn't know.
Yeah, I think this tool would be for someone with high agency. Like it exactly knows what they want to develop.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you have
probably
a very
who already
advanced...
are in working life and they have confronted with these problems. They know what.
So it would be something that you would use if you have a sort of already you have a specific need. Then you come with the need already.
Maybe you can have a kind of lesson first and talk about it in the group and with the teacher. So I think that is a problem of many people. They want to learn but they don't know what they want, and they expect that the teacher knows,
Yeah.
and they just keep everything.
Yeah, I think the psychology behind profiling yourself in a way pushes you to think, okay, what am I interested in? What would I like to have feed from? If I'm interested in, current events, well, definitely news. If I'm interested in sports, well, I also go to blogs and places that have that type of information. So you're driven to look for the feeding, because of course the whole point is that it's in Finnish. There's no point in having feeds from I don't know, in English, right? So yes, like okay, maybe to have this huge list of Finnish media that you can consume. And then that will drive you other way. Like I've found a lot of bloggers through Helsinki Sanomat. And those are the bloggers about design that I visit. So these things, for example, like just opening the path for someone who has a bit of interest and grows if he finds what he's looking for, I think. And that's, if we manage to make the profile engine as good, like in categorization and tagging and things like that, I think.
That's true, because then it's a true interest in the content, and it's not just for language learning.
No,
Because
that's the content.
what you need to create, because then it's important for one's whole life for somehow, and not only for the language. Like now we need to learn this and this. So
The first time I accessed like blogs and forums in Finnish is because I was desperate of knowing something about my child.
Yeah.
I became a mother, and that was very important.
Yeah.
So of course that drove me to research language in that, because it wasn't available in English. It was about päiväkotis and things like that, so I had to read it in Finnish, and that pushes you. And then, well, you join the group, and then you're with the parents, and then you're,
And then it comes every ping, maybe you click once and then read more.
Yes, and one drives to the other, and then you're in Kirpis and web pages and things like that. Yes.
Yeah.
But one thing drives to another. That's kind of the interesting phenomena of social media, and
Maybe also the interaction between the people there and with the teacher. Sometimes maybe it's hard for you to, you have sort of feeling that I need something like this, but you don't really know what to look for and where to look for. So maybe someone else can give you some hints, or then if you try to explain that to someone, then it makes your ideas clearer.
yes, and of course this role of the teacher is still somewhat vaguely defined, because we do need native speakers in order to correct us, because we can't do it on our own. But does it have to be necessarily, for example, a Finnish teacher?
Yeah.
If it's a työkaveri,
Yeah, that's for many things here it will be a lot more useful than a Finnish teacher, because if you want to learn something specific for your job, the Finnish teacher wouldn't know where to look for, what kind of material or what kind of language.
Yeah,
So,
if it's related to your own field, say in my community, I'm the only foreign speaker, I'm the only foreigner in my research group. So when they present in Finnish, I listen, I follow in Finnish. I can ask questions, but I'm not prepared for the answers.
yeah, yeah.
And of course, when I present, everybody complies, and I do it in English. But if I were to make a trade-off, for example, for the most time-consuming things, which are proofreading, and we are always looking for someone to read our papers because we need. Okay, I can do that in English easy. So you answer this question for me in the platform, log in and do that. Or if you want to learn Spanish, if this platform could work both ways, then okay, you learn Spanish, you teach me some cultural insights, like explain what this phrase means, for example, or how can I write this better, or help me with my email to, I don't know, some authority that I want to ask money from, which is very common. And I will read your paper. I will proofread.
That would be the ideal situation, and as you said in the beginning, you need something to trade with. You can't just ask people always to help you.
Yeah.
But then, of course, maybe there are different situations. What do people have to trade? I mean, Spanish, many people want to learn Spanish, but if your mother tongue is something that no one wants to learn, then you have maybe less to offer.
Yes, I guess if you speak Indonesian, then like maybe you might find not many enthusiasts, but maybe one.
One is enough.
Yeah.
One thing that pops to mind now, it's something quite different, but you have a dictionary tool there. Would it be useful to have like a phrase tool also? Like how to begin a letter or how to end an email. So you could trade, like, I saw this in an email from a colleague, I'm starting to use this now. Like I learned different foreign languages also, like copying like what the person sent in the previous letters online, I'll put that one. So learning phrases also.
And expressions and structures, because it's not about, as we said,
Phrases and structure.
yeah, it's not just about words, but also
That's a little bit
how to
hard
put
to
this.
categorize that though, but that would be useful.
Yeah, and structure. It's phrases and structure. Back, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning chunks.
Learning chunks.
I don't know how you can then organize that into something that would be easy to use. Because you could have the same thing, sort of an information bank for cultural knowledge also that you could share. But how do you organize it then? It's easy with words,
Yes.
alphabet, but
Well, it might work like that, just alphabetically. There is something you probably know, because one of the teachers from the language bank introduced us to it. This phrase bank. Yeah, is it for papers? Like, how do you introduce data? Like these phrases already chunks. If you're starting your paper, okay, the data shows that. Blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
And depending on what you're doing, reporting or concluding or introducing, and then that could actually work like that.
And if you can't categorize it, it could be also like a what is that? Like a newsfeed type of thing that you can click open. Did somebody put something interesting in today that you could just scroll into and look into that? You should look into that in Facebook. I'm in the group. Maybe you're also, what is it called? Finnish phrase of the day or something like that. It's a group that, and it's anything. It's something who does this, and it's really okay what they do. It doesn't come every day, I think, or I don't get it every day. You get the Facebook päivitys. I do this in Finnish, obviously. Update. And it's some phrase like uida avannossa. It's normally not anything culture related. It's just some phrase, and then they explain what it is and how the construction is made, or the whole structure. You should work together with them. Somebody's doing this already. And then the other one is Puhutaan Suomea. It's a magazine also, but I think they're doing something good.
Puhutaan Suomea.
Is this first one useless? learn useless Finnish or something like that.
Yeah, there's that one too. Now I can.
Ah,
Now I'm
okay.
not sure which one. I know that there's
Learn
these.
useful-
Yeah, learn useless Finnish. Yeah, that's true. It can. It might be that one too. But it's done well. Like out of the looking at it as a Finnish teacher, it's done very well. I can recommend to any student. Often the terms are very difficult, so it's not for beginners. So it would
Okay.
be this level.
Yeah.
So it's just a random word, and what I was thinking there. So anybody could I'm reading this article in my field, architecture or whatever. I put this in. I found this very interesting phrase, and you can use it this way in the feed. And then somebody would click and see, and he's not probably interested in architecture, but this structure might be useful for somebody
or
else.
somewhere else.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
hey, look, they say this so funnily. It could be. It would turn into this way. So, did you know that the Finns say blah blah blah? And it might be fun and interesting. And you could kind of.
Definitely
If you have a lazy day, so you just go on that instead of doing some real work, but you still learn something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you remember, if it made you laugh, you will remember.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But what about the understanding? It requires the people to understand very complex structures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if someone has sort of
Somebody
sorted it
understood
out with that,
Explained. Yeah.
for
The
example,
idea would
somebody
be that you
figures out,
explain.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you'd need rules for that news feed.
Yeah,
What
someone
you
has to
should
check,
put, what you put in there and how you. Yeah. But then, of course, everything doesn't have to be so controlled, because if it would be a Facebook thing that a foreigner in their Facebook private profile puts down, so hey, I saw this funny structure in Finnish. They say like this. If I understand correctly, it means blah 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 blah, and then they put this ending, so it makes it to mean this and this, and then maybe other foreigners living in Finland would comment, oh really, do they? Are you sure it's like this? So it would develop like this as a conversation.
Yeah, in a cascade.
And then it would be eventually learning then and finding out the right.
Spillovers, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that all works. Wow, any other suggestions?
Hey, one more idea. Earlier when we talked about the news and the difficulty of understanding very compact content there. So news, like something that happens in the world now, is available in any language. So you could have a feature of watch the news first in your language about this, like there was earthquakes there and there. Then you watch it in your language first. You know what happened. Then you watch it in Finnish. So you know what they are talking about, and then you watch it in Finnish.
You're much more attuned maybe to all that word.
Yeah.
That word
can guess
is-
many of the words.
Yeah.
And then maybe or even first watch it in your language, make a word list in your language, which were the keywords you need to know to understand this. You can do it easily in your language.
Yeah.
And then check, do you know these words in Finnish? If not, find them, then watch it in Finnish. Yeah. And the teacher didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We are trying to make ourselves useless.
Yeah, but no.
And we also work other way around. If you first read it in Finnish and you think that okay, this might mean this and that, and
Then you
can
on
check.
a-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
check.
You can take the easy way on the lazy day,
Yeah.
and then take the hard way. Yeah.
Well, that's really good if it could be done either way.
Yeah.
So people are different, and days are different.
Yeah.
Wow, all these are really very good.
Yeah.
Very good and very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, all those abstracts, if you like what I did for the other day, I read the abstract of one PhD thesis, and I read it in Finnish and in English. And it was really like a perfect match.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So,
That's good because sometimes reading English abstracts is really hard work because
Yes,
it's
that's
so
right.
compact language
Yes.
and all the terminology and
yes,
so
but
on.
then you read it in Finnish, and then
Yeah.
it's too similar
Yeah, there's something
thing.
to professional texts that
Yes.
exist parallel
That's
already. Nobody needs to translate. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, are we done?
Yes, if you have any concluding remarks or suggestions or complaints or anything.
No, there's one word, talkoot. It is with two O's.
Oh my god.
It's okay, but
Well, there you
there's
go.
a one
That's
comment.
my
No, it's okay.
There were several, actually.
Many?
It's
But
okay.
we understand them.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Well, I thank
But
you
it's
very
really
much.
good. We can see that you have done them.
Yes,
they're really interesting
them.
ideas. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
we would have more comments, but maybe, I don't know,
No, please,
when
yes.
it
Feel free
develops,
to send me any
yeah,
emails
yeah,
if you
yeah.
think you want to share
And
anything.
it's kind of
Please do.
First you orientate somehow,
Yeah.
and then your mind starts working. I already,
exactly.
I think I learned a lot from this session.
Thank you very much.
Mm.
I
It was
appreciate your
very,
time.
very fruitful and useful.
I hope to see you again.
Yeah,
Maybe with
sure.
something more developed and share it and
Yeah, sure.
get your comments and
if
maybe
you have
your-
some specific points that you want to discuss with someone, feel free to.
So if you want
contact
us to try something,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
we
When
could try something.
because
and
I'm
give you
doing
feedback.
the low tech right now. Well, the cheap version. With
Yeah.
WordPress with all the plugins available.
Yeah.
And well, I'm still figuring out. But if that more or less is sort of a prototype that we can tweak a bit more, like further.
Yeah.
And the whole point is that it doesn't have to cost that much because I mean to really develop a software as such, it takes like thousands of euros, which nobody's going to give me.
Yeah.
So I need to do this with open source and as much free stuff available
Right.
and help with the community. If the community is into it and is willing to participate, then I think, yeah, we can actually make something that is not so expensive. Like it's actually doable.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably the tools are already more or less they are there.
I've
Yes.
seen something like it here or there, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
intelligent tools for language that are in different places.
Yeah,
They're
so
never
you
put
just
in the
have to-
same place.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we manage to tailor for that, we might get something.
Yeah, there are always some problems.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully you can.
Yeah, I don't
Get
want to.
something
Yeah, and
better.
I don't want to have a huge software for graduation. I want to have a prototype which allows me to graduate and then do a postdoctoral
Yeah.
on that. Yeah. So yeah, to develop a lifetime work with this, and if we manage it, I mean, time is not my problem at the moment. So it's little by little, and let's do it good and one feature at a time. And if it works, and then evolves, and hopefully, yeah. Well, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. I know that. I have a baby. Oh, and now I